Hi everyone. Last month we talked about Advent, which happens 4 weeks before Christmas. Today I want to talk about what is Epiphany. Epiphany always falls on January 6th, and since today is January 6th, happy Epiphany! So what is Epiphany exactly? Epiphany is the day that Western liturgical churches, Roman Catholics, Lutherans, Anglicans, and other high liturgical churches, commemorate the day that the Magi, also known as the three wise men, visited the infant Jesus. Now, I need to get my cameraman to pan over to our tiny nativity scene. And once he's there, he's going to point out something. What do you see here? Aha! The three wise men. Most nativity scenes include the three wise men, but surprisingly, including the wise men in with the nativity scene in the manger is actually historically incorrect. So, what do we actually know about these wise men? First of all, the story of the wise men visiting Jesus is only told in the Gospel of Matthew. And Matthew has very little information about them except that they came from the East. Well, biblical historians have been able to put together some facts about the wise men. First, they came from the East, most likely Persia, which is now what we know as present-day Iran. They were also Zoroastrian priests. Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest religions on earth and was the official religion of Persia before Islam. And although they believed that their prophet Zoroaster was conceived in a 15-year-old virgin, they were still searching for the birth of the true Savior. The wise men were considered the scholars and scientists of their day because they understood astrology, interpreted dreams, and created daily horoscopes. So these men were just doing their jobs, following the star that they believed would take them to the true Messiah, spoken of and predicted so long ago. Now, Western Christianity has always assumed that there were only three wise men because they presented the infant Jesus with three gifts. Eastern Christianity, however, believes that there may have been as many as 12 wise men. And this may be closer to true, since traveling during the time of Jesus was quite hazardous. There were often robbers along the route, and it was customary to take a larger group of people if you had a long journey to take. The larger the group of people, the less likely it was that you would be attacked. It lends truth to the saying that there is safety in numbers. So what kind of journey are we talking about? Well, the distance from Iran to Nazareth is approximately 1,300 miles, or for our friends watching from other countries, 2,100 kilometers. Historians are fairly certain that the wise men did not show up until a year to a year and a half after Jesus was born. The Gospel of Luke tells us that 40 days after Jesus' birth, Mary and Joseph took Jesus to the temple to be presented. There, Mary sacrificed 2 turtle doves, which was the option for poorer people. If she had had the gifts from the wise men that they would have provided her, that would have provided her with enough wealth that she would have been obligated to sacrifice something more expensive, like a lamb. Since this was not the case, we know that the wise men had not arrived by then. The Gospel of Matthew also states, on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Chances are that Mary and Joseph had actually gone back to their house in Nazareth, and that's where the wise men found him. Now, once the wise men had located the infant Jesus, they presented him with some pretty strange gifts. No diapers, playpens, blankets, or baby-safe toys for him. Instead, he got gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And these gifts are very symbolic. Gold is symbolic of royalty. Frankincense is symbolic of Jesus' priestly role since it was regularly burned as incense in the temple, and myrrh would be symbolic of Jesus' death, as it was used in this time period for embalming the dead. So once the wise men pay homage to the baby Jesus, they leave for their home by a different route from the way they came. Why? Because they were warned in a dream not to fulfill Herod's request of telling him where Jesus is. You see, Herod is scared and wants to know where Jesus is so he can kill him and get rid of the threat. You see, in 40 BC, Herod was crowned king of the Jews by the Roman Senate. But he also knows that he can't be the Messiah. The Messiah has to be born in Bethlehem and of the lineage of King David. And Herod, well, he has neither of those going for him. So already there are threats against Jesus, and the poor kid's not even 2 years old. Now, over the centuries, the wise men have been, shall we say, embellished. In the 3rd century AD, they were promoted to kings. And in the 8th century AD, they were given their names of Balthazar, Melchior, and Gaspar. So that is basically the history of the 3 wise men. But there are also many fun celebrations of Epiphany around the world. If you've ever heard of the 12 days of Christmas, and who hasn't, then you probably know that the 12 days of Christmas end on January 6th with Epiphany. Many countries celebrate by having parades with festive floats and plenty of people dressed as kings. In Spain and Latin America, Christmas gifts are traditionally given on Epiphany. Children often leave their shoes out overnight to find presents in them in the morning. In Mexico, a sweetbread is made in the shape of a ring to resemble a crown. A tiny figurine of a baby is baked inside to represent the Holy Family hiding from King Herod. Italian children wake up to find gifts and candy on the eve of the Epiphany. Now, some places make a king cake for Epiphany and hide the baby figure in it. Whoever finds the baby has to make the cake for next year. You better hope someone who likes to bake and is a decent cook finds the baby. Other areas make this cake for Mardi Gras, the day before Ash Wednesday. Either way, or tradition, you now know the history behind the wise men and Epiphany. Thanks for watching.